Now to Lieutenant Catherine Buckley to get some information about what has happened and what's unfolding on the latest situation out there.
We always train for the possibility of additional gunmen, but we have encountered one individual right now.
Demands?
At this point, none.
Any other communication other than shooting between the suspect and police?
That is the only thing that we've had to this point.
Can you describe the gun or the weapon?
Don't know. It's too early in the
Too early in the investigation, obviously. They don't know how many victims they have. They don't know how many people are in that building. So a very fluid situation, and as with breaking news situations, most likely as the information comes in over an hour, that information could change. So as soon as we get it confirmed, we will bring you the confirmed information and make every effort to make sure you understand which information is confirmed and which information is just coming in from witnesses on the scene, information that hasn't been confirmed, but information that may be important for the public's safety. Again, you're looking at images from the scene out there at Fillmore and Centennial, just west of I-25. A shooter inside the Planned Parenthood building. At least 9 people taken to the hospital, 4 of them officers. And as we were talking earlier, after Columbine, officers changed their responses to active shooter situations. Instead of setting up an immediate perimeter, they would go in, try to find and put down the attacker, the shooter. In this situation, listening to the emergency dispatch, it sounded like that may have been what they were doing. However, the shooter, they said on the dispatches, one of the officers said he was barricaded on the southwest side of the building and shooting at them. So at that point, the tactics obviously change, and we're now in the situation that we're in right now, where we're waiting. And we're waiting right now for more information. We were just told that the police department is getting set up to release some more information in just a couple of minutes.
Before we go out to that press conference, however, just to bring you up to speed, 4 officers have been hurt with the gunfire here. 3 patients at Memorial Hospital, 6 patients at Penrose Hospital. We do not know the scope of those injuries at this point. We do not know if anyone has been fatally shot. Obviously, a lot of information still yet to be processed, and police still trying to clear the building. Let's go out to the press conference now.
Catherine Buckley, B-U-C-K-L-E-Y, with the Colorado Springs Police Department. I have to my right here Jacqueline Kirby, K-I-R-B-Y, with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. At this point, this is still an active scene. We have been in contact with a suspect inside the building. The suspect has fired upon our officers inside the building, and we are still working through the process of that at this time. As part of that, we have been evacuating people out of the Planned Parenthood building, and we have evacuated numerous people out of the Planned Parenthood building. We do know that we have 4 officers that have been injured. There's a possibility that there is a 5th officer at this time, but I have been unable to confirm that. There are an unknown amount of casualties at this point. We know that this scene is going to be going on for the next several hours because there are items that the suspect took with him to the Planned Parenthood building that we have to check out once the scene is stabilized. This is not a stabilized scene at this time. Therefore, we are waiting until we get a stabilized scene so that we can move additional resources up and check out the items that the individual brought to him at the Planned Parenthood building.
When you say you don't know, you're not saying the number of casualties?
I do not know if we have casualties. I do not know how many people were transported at this point. We are trying to gather that information.
Did this incident start at the Planned Parenthood or somewhere else?
This incident did start at the Planned Parenthood building. We have had several questions of if this involved the bank, which is just to the south of the Planned Parenthood building. We did have victims that left the Planned Parenthood building and made their way to the bank. So there were some individuals that were at the bank, but to our knowledge, this individual was at the Planned Parenthood building and had gone into any other businesses at this point.
How many suspects are you looking at, Lieutenant
Hold on,
Buckley?
I can answer one question at a time.
Lieutenant Buckley, do you just have one suspect, and are there people around who you might be looking at as well?
At this point, we have one suspect. Obviously, in type of investigations like this, we always look for any type of additional suspects. One of the things that I've seen on social media is that there are people that are posting names of a suspect. We have not even confirmed the name of the suspect. We haven't even confirmed who the suspect is at this point. We know that we're in contact with him because he has shot at our officers, and that's the only thing that we can confirm at this point.
Are there any hostages inside or any other Planned Parenthood employees?
We are in the process of evacuating everybody else out of the Planned Parenthood building at this time.
How long has it been since shots have been fired?
Actually, just recently, we've had shots fired.
Do you know where he is in the
One
building?
at a time, please. You next.
Do we know where he is?
In the building. In the building. Do you know where?
We are working through that at this point.
Does he have hostages near him in close proximity to him?
I can't confirm whether he does at this point or not.
Are there any demands?
We have not been in voice contact with the suspect.
And he is in the
Ma'am.
Planned Parenthood building?
Yes, he is in the Planned Parenthood building.
But there are other.
Since you are evacuating people or trying to get people out of the building, are you certain that you're able to reach all of the people in the building? Have you identified where everyone is at?
We are working with the staff from Planned Parenthood to make sure that we have identified where people are at in the building and to get them out safely. We have done so with several of the people. They have been brought over here to the VA hospital, which is just to the south, where they are meeting with detectives from the Sheriff's Office, the Police Department, and our federal partners.
Can you clarify, are there other offices, other medical offices in that same building?
I do not know. That's something I don't know.
Do you know how many people were in the building?
I don't know at this point.
Andy?
What about the people in King Supers? Are they going to be allowed out anytime soon?
You know, at this point, until we have this individual and the situation is completely stabilized, it is not safe for us to move anybody out of other buildings in the proximity of the place.
And if you're just joining us on channel 13.1, we have been broadcasting 24/7 here on 13.3. You're joining us right now in the middle of a news conference on the active shooter situation at Fillmore and Centennial. Lieutenant Catherine Buckley with Springs Police talking. Can we go back to the news conference? Asking our producer now.
Sure what they are, we can't say what they are. We just know that he has brought items to the building with him. And before we let anybody else in there, before we conduct our investigation, we have to make sure that those are not some type of a device or anything like that.
Can you confirm that he's carrying an
Don't turn around. But
Okay.
answer this question. Do you have an unknown number of those civilian casualties inside the Planned Parenthood? And if so,
I can't speak to what we have inside the Planned Parenthood at this time, other than the fact that we have been working to actively evacuate people from the building.
How many personnel do you have involved with this as far as law enforcement? Hundreds, dozens?
With him, what did he bring with him?
Can you give us an idea?
Just a minute.
So as far as the personnel here on scene, unfortunately I don't have a count. I know that we do have the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, the Colorado Springs Police Department. We have officers from the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs. We have federal agencies here, including the FBI and the ATF to assist us. We have the Colorado Bureau of Investigations that has come down to assist us once we get to the point that we can actually do and go through these scenes and collect evidence and process the scenes. So we have agencies from across the region helping us.
What's it like for you guys today, responding to this, knowing your own officers are injured and this isn't over yet?
The first thing is our concern as officers is that the public is safe. And that's what we're working very diligently, is to ensure that the public is safe from here on out. The situation right now is contained within the Planned Parenthood building, but there's obviously a concern because it does involve our fellow officers. But we still have a job that we have to do, and that's what we're doing, is we are doing our job and we're trying to ensure that the public is safe and everything is handled correctly. There was a question in the back. I'm sorry, sir.
he's gone.
Eric?
He was asking about the nature of the things that the suspect brought with him.
The nature of the devices, at this point, we don't know. Some of them are in...
They are devices, though?
We don't know what they are. We know that the suspect brought several items with him, and some of those are inside the Planned Parenthood building. Some of those are out front of it.
You want to check them to make sure they're...
We have to check them to make sure that they're not any type of improvised device and that our people are safe going in there in order to process the scene.
Let's talk about the nature of the hostage negotiations. You are or aren't in contact, and if you aren't, when will you be in contact?
We are not in voice contact with him at this point, and that's something that we will work through with our teams in order to establish that.
How does that work?
Well, specifically, we try to get in contact with him, but we don't have a means at this point. So.
You're saying it is a hostage situation?
No, he's asking if we're in contact with the individual that's in the building that is a suspect, and we're not.
Is there a hostage situation in your mind?
To our knowledge at this point, we are still trying to evacuate anyone else inside the Planned Parenthood building.
Lieutenant, have any officers passed away at this point?
I don't have information on that.
Do you know what
Do you
they're?
know if he has an automatic weapon of some sort? Of your SWAT guys say perhaps an AK-47, anything like a description of a weapon that he's using?
The original information that we received on the original call for service, and is that it was some type of a long gun. And that's the information that we have at this point. Until we actually get in there and we get in the room with this suspect and figure out what he has, it's difficult to say. A point of clarification, because I know that this is going nationally, is that here in Colorado this last year, there was a law established through our legislature that bifurcates the investigation process for any type of officer-involved shooting situation. Because the Colorado Springs Police Department officers here on scene have the probability that they were involved in gunfire with this suspect, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office will be taking over that portion of the investigation involving the officers. The Colorado Springs Police Department will remain with the investigation of the suspect as well as any individuals that have been hurt here on scene. Okay?
Has that suspect had contact with anyone who's still inside the building that you know of?
I do not know of that.
Can you tell us, you had mentioned earlier, this initial response was to the Planned Parenthood. It's now happening in the Planned Parenthood, and this person brought devices with him.
This person brought items with him that we have to make sure are not any type of devices.
But can you talk about him bringing devices and this all stemming from the Planned Parenthood? Would you say that they were targeted, or talk about the involvement with Planned Parenthood?
Since this is still active, it would be premature to speculate about what this individual's motive, what this individual's ideas were, or why he chose this building.
But he had duffel bags?
Until we get this checked out, we can't tell. He did bring some bags with him into the building.
Were doctors or staffers on site, and was anyone having any...
This was an active open day for the Planned Parenthood, and there were people inside of the building, including staff and individuals, patients with appointments.
Have you had any contact with anybody inside the building aside from the suspect?
We have evacuated numerous people out of the building.
What about propane tanks? We heard something about somebody trying to shoot at propane tanks.
Those are some of the items that we have to look at that were brought to the facility to see what they are and ensure that everyone is safe.
Are you speaking?
Facility. Okay.
Are you speaking with this suspect's relatives? Anyone who might know him?
We have not even identified the suspect at this point. There has been some information that has been put out on social media that X person or Y person is the suspect. We can't confirm that at this point. So, okay, that's it. The next briefing we'll probably set for 5 o'clock. I'm trying to work because it looks like the weather is not going to cooperate with us. We'll probably work to see if we can go to an indoor facility, which would be away from here. But I'll let you guys know as we go along. Okay?
Thank you, Lieutenant Buckley.
You bet.
Okay, just to recap, that is Lieutenant Catherine Buckley with Colorado Springs Police. We are in